We're back for another edition of Kelsey's Corner with Arizona State softball outfielder Kelsey Hall. Kelsey, 11-6 now to start the season. We'll get into everything that happened last weekend, what's ahead. I want to start off, though, with the Ohio State game. 12-10. Just take me through that ridiculous 10th inning.
It was even up to the 10th inning. It was just the craziest. I tell everyone that was the most intense, electric game of softball I've ever played in my life. It was the atmosphere, the energy in the dugout. It was just insane. Obviously, at the beginning of the game, we were down 6-0.
Yeah.
And we couldn't just bring things along. And then I think it was Sam Swan, a freshman, came in and hit a home run, a pinch hit home run. And then we were like, we got this. We're going to do this. And then it was just one thing after another. That was the game where there was nothing we couldn't do. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, if they scored, okay, that's fine. And people were making ESPN plays on the field. There was just no way that game wasn't going to go our way. And so it was awesome. We went into the 10th inning, and I think they had scored only one, because in the 9th inning they had scored two. And that's when I had hit an RBI or 2 RBI base hits. So we're like, guys, we are winning this game. It was every play that was made, it was like we won the World Series, which I think was such a foundational turning point for our team. Because like we talked about last time, that's things we talk about is just buying in, celebrating. And then when Sarah hit that bomb, I had goosebumps because it was just a no-doubter.
Yeah.
And seeing there's a video that they had posted and you see Coach B's reaction. I've never seen her jump. She might have gotten a PR on the team for how high she jumped when she realized it was a home run. It was, and then when we went into the dugout or the locker room after, wow, that was one of the best feelings ever. So
yeah, I can't even imagine, right? Like 12-10, you talk about the 9th inning to get to where you're at. You started down 6 runs, then you get the single to have someone on base, and then a 2-run shot to end the day. Especially, I feel like throughout the weekend, like overall, it was a great weekend for you, like for Arizona State softball. Just like, was that the moment for you, like this season so far, where you could just be like, okay, this team has the juice to do something special?
Oh, 100%. It was the coaches, and we all kind of joked around and we're like, now we kind of messed up because we showed we can do it.
Yeah.
And they were like, now we know that you guys can bring this juice and you guys can show up to against a very awesome team, because Ohio State's a really good team.
Yeah.
And so now that's our, they call it elevating the floor or elevating the ceiling or lowering the ceiling. Something like that, where it's like, that's our standard now. So that was definitely a turning point for this team, to where it was, that's what we can do and that's what we should do.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about obviously that game being a turning point, I think, for you guys so far. It's still pretty early in the season, but through 17 games, just how do you feel, I guess, health-wise, and then also just how is the team kind of gelling together 17 games in? Again, 11-6 start is a pretty good start compared to what this team was last season.
This team is coming together a lot more tight-knit within the team itself, which I think is really special. As much as we love our coaches, we're bought into our coaches, the girls are on the field.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that's really helping us too, is we're celebrating each other, which we've always, like I told you before, we all love each other.
Yeah.
But it's celebrating each other and buying into each other on and off the field, I think has been an immense turning point for us, which has been really cool to see. And health-wise, I think our team's coming along. You see Jordan back in the lineup consistently, which is awesome. So, and I think obviously we had a long game stretch where bodies are getting tired, but I think once we calm down into conference, because you only play 3 games a weekend, we're gonna excel health-wise. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I wanna transition. We talked a little bit at the start of the season, kind of when we did the first edition of Kelsey's Corner, about some players that really had some strong starts. And I feel like Yanixa Acuna has had just a remarkable start to the season, leads the team in hits, and she's only a sophomore, correct?
Hmm.
Like she's had just a ridiculous start. I know, obviously, her older sister, kind of an ASU softball legend. She's still a part of the program in a way. Like, just what have you seen from her through 17 games in terms of a sophomore being able to step up and really take advantage of her opportunity?
She's so fun to play around, first off. She is someone, when I'm playing center field and she's playing left, just our chemistry and her presence on the field, I've recognized and I've felt has grown so much more. I see the confidence in her, and I see, because she's always been a hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she has her sister always holding her, being her accountability partner too. So that's never been a question. That hasn't changed. But once again, like we talked about last time, I think her seeing that she can be a really big part of this program.
Mm-hmm.
She's going into the box with that presence. She's going in, and she also has a lot more of a calm, cool, collected mindset, which I think some people should take on, right? Because she doesn't let the moment get too big,
Mm-hmm.
which I really respect out of her. She gets the 2-out hits, she gets the 2-strike hits, which that takes an elite mindset. So it's been really awesome to see her grow.
Absolutely. Kelsey, I mean, you've also had a stellar start to the season. I'm just curious where that one where's the home run, Kelsey? Where's the dinger? We're waiting for it.
You and me both. Like, I am telling myself that it's just an anticipation because it's going to come when we really need it.
There you go.
That's what I'm telling myself. But, at the end of the day, my biggest focus, obviously the home run would be awesome because I know that's in my toolbox is power, but I'm getting on base. Lely's hitting me in. We're doing some good things there. And if I'm not doing it, luckily other people are. So it'll come. I'm getting on base. So a win is a win.
Halfway there.
Yeah, we're building. We're building. It'll be good things. I promise.
Another just giant slate of games this weekend. Starting obviously Friday, you guys have a doubleheader today, correct?
Correct.
For you, like this is really, I want to say the last giant chunk of games that you have prior to starting to get into like series. I know you've got Washington next week on the road. Just what do you feel like you guys need to accomplish as a unit before next week kind of happens and you do start to have those series games where you are seeing teams 2-3 times a week?
What we talked about in the dugout yesterday or the locker room, I keep saying dugout, but it is our new team locker room, which we love. What we talked about is going into this weekend, it doesn't matter who's on the field. We are going to show up consistently ourselves. So exactly in those 3-game series where teams are continuing to see you, you have to show up consistently with your mindset. You can't take a day off, right? Because they're seeing you again, and good teams like Washington are going to capitalize on it. So our goal is to, just like that energy in the Ohio State game, just like that belief and that swagger, we are controlling it with everyone that we play. Mm-hmm. So making sure that we prepare ourselves mentally and emotionally as if we're going into pack play.
Yeah.
So that way, when we go into pack play, it's not like, okay, like how do we do our mindset? Like we've been preparing for this for 4 weeks or however long it's been.
Yeah.
That's our.
I think when you look at some of the games, right, you've got obviously ranked opponents throughout the season. You've got series. You've got teams on the road. You got them at Club Farrington. And I think for people that don't necessarily, talk to athletes a lot or they never played sports, it may be a little bit difficult to understand the idea of just staying focused on one game, right? Like, I think there's a lot of people that are like, oh, this is an easy opponent. They see the record and they're like, okay, but next week they got this. Right. Mm-hmm. So like, how do you like stay centered in a way where you are just able to focus on what the task at hand, as opposed to being like, this team is whatever, but next week we got a ranked opponent?
I think it comes down to the mentality that we can't get to where we want to be if we don't do the little things right. Mm-hmm. Everything we talked about from the very beginning was the only game that matters is Wisconsin, when that was our home opener. Mm-hmm. That is the team that is standing in our way to go to the World Series. And that is and treat every team like they're the same respected ball club, because again, our focus is in-house and our focus has to be like what we can control.
Yeah.
So if you are looking into the big picture of what's happening, you are going to slip up because the teams we play, they can show up, they can play. We haven't played a team that hasn't competed. And so I think that's awesome because it's keeping us mentally sharp for when we come to pack play. But if we are looking at the big picture, we're going to miss a lot of the process steps to get us prepared for those big moments.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, absolutely. And I think for you, maybe it's been a little bit, I don't want to say easier, but you've had so many reps to do it, right? Like you've played so many seasons and you still have another year of eligibility, don't you?
I do. I'm going to be with a walking cane showing up to Club Farrington. Yes, I do. Yeah, it's definitely helps because we have a good amount of fifth years that have the experience of a preseason going into conference and understanding the mental capacity that you have to buy into every single game. Because I've been a bubble team at Boise State. We were a bubble team to go into postseason, and we didn't get in. And we had a stellar season, and that was a heart-wrenching feeling. So I know what the other side of it feels like.
Yeah.
And the way of having to buy into every moment you can to never feel like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You it's funny you bring up Boise State, and I was going to bring it up in a second just because I think it's hilarious that not that you played at Boise State, but just the fact of the matter is you can open your window right now and it's 60 degrees here. It's it's how cold in Idaho right now? Let's see.
I have no clue. I've not.
It's 40 and raining.
Yeah, that's a warmer day. I remember when we were there and it was 40 degrees. We were going no sleeves. It was basically like it was 80 degrees. So at least they're in the 40s.
Crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
It's been, we were just talking about it. I was talking to some friends that were there, and it is such a change in preseason. I feel like preseason went by so quick because we've been at home.
Yeah.
We haven't had to travel versus when you were on the road every single weekend. It felt like you were on the road for 6 months off at war. So, and so it's been very nice. I'm very grateful. I'm very blessed that I get to call this place home for sure.
Yeah. I know we talked about it last week, but it still feels like you said, you guys you haven't had a road test. You haven't been able to go on the road, just travel and get that opportunity. Like, are you guys starting to get that itch of you're just like, we love Club Farrington, but I just want to like experience that other side of college softball?
Yeah, for sure. I think some of the younger girls obviously don't know like the benefits that playing on the road, the memories. But some of my best memories from college softball are from those travel trips.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited. And I also, maybe this is a hot take, I love playing on the road. As much as I love the atmosphere of your fans, it is so fun to come into enemy lines.
Yeah.
And just be the team that people want to lose.
Yeah.
Like they want you to be beat. Like they want you to suck. I don't know. That's fun to me because then
you like being the villain. You like being the villain.
Exactly. I love being the villain because then when you do good, it just feels that much better.
Yeah. I feel it. Last question, Kelsey. Just kind of off that then. Who's your favorite villain of all time and why?
My favorite villain? Wow. I wasn't expecting a fun question.
You mean none of the other questions were fun?
They're all serious. This isn't like Cheesecake Factory again. Yeah, we have to get another hot or not take once in a while.
Okay, we'll definitely do that. We'll definitely do that.
But I don't think he counts as a villain, but I'm wearing my Rocky, my Mighty Mix hoodie, so he doesn't count as a villain, but Apollo
We're going Mickey?
Creed
Oh, Apollo.
and Apollo when they're first fighting each other, when they first interact, that movie gives me goosebumps.
Oh my gosh. That's such a good, is that 3? Rocky 3 when Apollo and Rocky, or is that 4? 4 is the big one with Apollo. 4 is the one where like they've got Ivan Drago and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's the Russian. I think it's either 2 or 3.
2 or 3. I don't know which one's Clever Lang and all those ones. God, Rocky's such a good movie. Such a
when
great
you
series
you haven't came to a game.
Thanks,
So
Kelsey.
when you
Thanks,
come,
Kelsey. Okay.
the ASU Sun Devil fans, be a better fan than Anthony. You show up to Club Farrington and you show your
There you go.
support.
There you go.
Because you'll see that my walk-up song one of the days is the Rocky Fight song.
Okay.
You'll appreciate it. He hasn't been able to make comments about it, but
Well,
we'll
on that note, thank you, Kelsey, for another edition of Kelsey's Corner. And then obviously, best of luck this weekend. I'll see if I can make it out to a game this weekend.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.